Thanks for listening to us once again for the Living and Leading Show, where we interview people who are making a difference in their lives through their businesses and charities. I'm Forrest Ward. Now, here's today's show. This is Forrest Ward with the Living and Leading Show, and I thought it would be important for me to sit and talk with you about what I do in my life and my business, and the reason why I started this particular program. Early on in my career, I was a teacher. I worked with mainly special ed children and discipline problems in high school and college, and worked with retarded adults at Austin State School for a time. And then in '79, I chose to start my own business. I had a very interesting business mentor at the time who said, "Forrest, if you're interested in something, have it make you money." I remember being in one of the plays that I was a part of, community theater in Austin, and this particular actress came to work on the play, and she had her own wardrobe, she had her own makeup, she had her own shoes, and I was just astounded at she didn't have to depend on the theater for anything. And I asked her one day, I said, what do you do here? She said, "Well, early in my life I determined I was going to be a professional actress, and it was up to me to be as self-sufficient as possible. So I knew I was going to need makeup, so I have my own makeup line. I knew I was going to need shoes to be comfortable. I didn't need to wear somebody else's shoes, so I have my own shoe company. I have my own clothing store, my own clothing line, and I get to go to market in Dallas to purchase these things, and I get to write them off because essentially they're demonstrators. And I'm absolutely equipped to be the finest actress when I walk through the door." I thought that was amazing advice. But this other person who was a business mentor of mine, I took to heart what he said, because I'm interested in acting, I'm interested in music, I'm interested in teaching. And I've been in 15 plays and 3 movies. While living in Austin, I grew a guitar on the end of my arm and taught myself to play and started writing my own songs, and I have 3 tapes of music that I've written. I've made friends among people in the folk music circles in Austin and Kerrville Folk Festival. I've sung throughout the whole southwestern United States as well as Washington, D.C. area. I've had a wonderful, wonderful time doing the other things other than just my business. I recall when my wife and I moved to Washington, D.C., I took my business up there, and I knew I wasn't going to be doing any movie work there, but I had a client who we worked with her on her business plan and marketing strategy. She owned an entertainment company that supplied personalities for trade shows and conventions and corporate meetings. And I became the official George Washington look-alike. And I got to go to all these wonderful functions in Washington, D.C. Of course, I was not dressed like everybody else was dressed, but I had a wonderful time. And they didn't know that my George Washington character spoke with a Texas accent. At one point, I got to be Santa Claus at the Kennedy Center. They had a full day of choir music and wanted a Santa Claus to come out and be interviewed, and went out over the AM radio station. And I walked out on the stage at the concert hall in the Kennedy Center, and 5 tiers of children are looking at me saying, "Look, there's Santa Claus, that's really Santa Claus." It was so moving to see that many kids excited about what I was doing. By the time I got to the center of the stage to be interviewed by the MC, I was absolutely in tears. It was so moving. Experiences like that, you can't go out and purchase them. They come to us. And we need to be ready when they do show up. It's fun to do things other than just the same old doodah every single day. When you sit down and realize that you intentionally are creating what you want in your life instead of just throwing it open to happenstance, it has a whole different meaning. I had a friend named Bob McCann. Bob McCann in Houston, Texas, was one of the original 250 people in NASA. He had been asked by the government to come down and be a part of the space program, and Bob and his wife and 5 children upped and left Virginia to come down to Texas. And in doing so, he found that every single day he leapt out of bed excited about what he was going to find that day, because if you're going to put a man on the moon in 10 years and bring him back safely, and you don't know what materials you're going to use or fuels or what the person's going to wear, what they're going to eat, how they're going to take care of themselves in space, all the testing that they did, all the things that was involved in getting that space program up and running were amazingly difficult, amazingly intricate. He told me, one example of this is, he told me that when John Glenn circled the globe 3 times and his capsule re-entered the atmosphere, John Glenn's back was against the heat shield, and had John Glenn's capsule warbled 2 more degrees, John Glenn would have been burned up. Now, that meant that he and everybody who worked on that space program had to continually retest things, to correct things. He told me also that the rocket that took the man to the moon was off course 98% of the time. And the way guidance systems work is they're set at a certain bearing, and then they correct themselves, and they go so far on the next reading, and then they correct themselves again. And I thought that was really interesting, because in our lives we don't get to be static. We don't get to be stayed and stuck. We have to adjust to whatever's going on. That's why I wanted to go in and show entrepreneurial people how to create a business plan and a marketing strategy that supports their business, so that they can go into as many situations as possible and know exactly how to work there, and also how to realize a profit out of it. I really feel sorry for those people who do the same old thing every day, and they expect that, well, one of these days it's all going to work out. To me, I think that business has something to do with being creative. There is a space called creating. Some people step into that space called creating, and a book shows up, or a movie shows up, or a song shows up, or a relationship shows up, or a business shows up. And I think it's most satisfying when a person creates a business from nothing. They started with nothing, and they created something outstanding. You've heard several people on my show in the last few weeks talk about what they were doing before they got into what they're doing now. One of the women that I interviewed was Nina Cox. Nina works with Mary Kay Cosmetics. And the life story of Mary Kay Ash is an outstanding example of a woman who determined for herself what she was going to do with the rest of her life. And she made an outstanding contribution to what she did. Now, granted, there's plenty of cosmetic companies out there. I understand that. But to me, it's remarkable that a woman like she took it upon herself to be totally responsible. There's a story about Estee Lauder. When Estee Lauder first came up with her particular scent, she decided that she wanted to be the first American to sell perfume on the Champs-Élysées in Paris, France. At the time, the merchants along the Champs-Élysées would not let any Americans sell their wares. And she went from store to store to store asking people, look, just try my product. Just try it and see how people respond to it. And they wouldn't even let her open the bottle. And she tried this time after time after time, and finally she got a brilliant idea. And she waited till a particular store was very crowded, and she took her bottle of perfume and smashed it on the floor. And immediately the perfume was released throughout the whole room, and people are clamoring to the clerk saying, could I have some of that? I want some of that now. Where do I get it? And that's exactly how Estee Lauder became one of the best retailers on the Champs-Élysées in Paris, and the very first American to do so. So to me, it takes a person having an idea and following through to the point to where the success is not up for grabs, it's not by accident, it's fully intentional that it be this way. I've had clients who have been so remarkable that they've tripled their business in less than a year. Now, that wasn't me that tripled their business for them, but they were so intentional about what they were going to do, creating their vision and their statement of purpose, and orienting their business through the management, marketing, financials, and operations, that that vision was translated or expressed all the way down through their business. So it was absolutely indelible exactly what they were up to. I think that's a wonderful thing to do, is to see a person who's done that with that level of intentionality to where the results that they anticipated are actually produced. People can reach me at my website at www.forrestallenward.com. That's Forrest, F-O-R-R-E-S-T, Allen, A-L-L-E-N, and the last name's Ward, one of those four-letter words, W-A-R-D, ForrestAllenWard.com. Or you can email me at forrest@ForrestAllenWard.com, or you can call me at 817-880-5651. I would be more than happy to speak with anyone that would be interested in me helping them with their business to the degree that they can produce outstanding results on a daily basis, and they can see that they really, it's not because they have the best thing in the world on the market. People do business with my clients because of their experience of that client. And that's really what my clients have to offer over anything else. If they can show people that they can be trusted, that they have integrity, that they're honest, that they're going to follow through and take care of their customers with the purpose of having that customer be the number one thing in their business, I think that that's terrific. So please call me and let me know what you would like to do. Call me at 817-880-5651. And again, www.ForrestAllenWard.com is my website, and my email is forrest@ForrestAllenWard.com. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is general information. If you would like details, please contact me at forrestward@citbroadband.com, or you can use the contact information for my guest this week. Thank you for listening.